This allows you to not worry about that because it says, okay, well, if, for example, I changed the invitation click-through rate here, and I get that to go from 12% to 14%, I may not see an overall change in DAU because it's, again, it's a little too much noise to catch that signal. But using this, I can say, well, we understand how if I change that click-through rate, that's going to change the number of visitors from viral invitations. That in turn is going to change all these other things, which ultimately will change DAU. So though I can't measure it, I know it's still working there. It's just basically saying I don't have the tools that are sensitive enough to measure it. But I can say, as a team, we're going to focus on one of those things up there, and if we can move it, we've done something good. Because I remember when I first joined the search team, and we were talking about, have we tried these things, have we tried these things? The answer was yes, we tried all of them, but none of them moved daily active users. But we still know they're good. And we still had data that would show that it's doing some interesting stuff. So this allows you to do really good experiments and focus on something that you know you can move, knowing that it will impact, ultimately, in aggregate, those other things. The final step is, there's a one-to-one correlation. This is basically just a bunch of spreadsheet cell formulas. And I just translate them into an actual spreadsheet. And then what you do with this spreadsheet is, you roll it out week by week. So you say, all right, well, I've got my invitation click-through rate. Let's say it's at 12%. And maybe in 2 months, I think I can get that up to 14%. So 8 weeks out, I'll change that to 14%. And then I can see, since this is all just one big simple formula here, I can see what effect is that going to have on daily active users in this particular case, or whatever my output metric is. So it's basically sensitivity analysis. This is the thing, that spreadsheet is what allows you to prioritize all of the different options you have by which one is most likely to have the biggest output. The goal is not to create a spreadsheet that will predict your metric, your daily active users, or whatever your metric may be. The goal, in fact, is to have more clarity and simplicity than total accuracy. You just want things to be directionally correct. So you can leave out tons of details. You just want to get a sense of magnitude. If I change click-through rates here, or I could, if I increase that by 5%, or if I increase the number of invitation sends in the first place by 5%, which one is going to have a higher impact? And this will help you with that. So this is ultimately the process. And this is a lot of what my team has been focusing on, figuring out how to take these types of things, work with different teams to build these out. Different teams can take them, make them their own. The search org, Aaron and his team have done a great job kind of taking this foundation and making it to something their own. You'll see some stuff from the Allo Duo team as well. They've done the same thing. So this is a process that you can count on that will work. It gives you a place to start and steps to follow. So let me focus on the types of things we can do. For Growth Lab itself, the 4 main areas that we focus on as just services that different people in our team are focused on are insights into what are the opportunities, that identify phase, what are the things in there, the anomalies or the underused sticky features or whatever it may be. We can help with those analyses. In terms of best practices, the big one we're focusing on right now is building out those foundational tools. So for your team, what is your growth model? What are your user flows? Helping figure out what your North Star metric should be in the first place. How do you get different people to sign in? How do you get people to give you permissions for notifications? These are all things that we're doing both research and looking at actual experiment results to figure out how to save everyone time and figure out what are the best options for us when we're looking at different ways to design things in the app. We also have some services that we can provide, where we have a few hundred people, in fact, working with us who can help if you want to promote your product through email. We can do end-to-end. You tell us what type of email you're targeting or that you'd like. We can help with the targeting. We can help with creative. We can help with translation to all the different languages. We can do the same thing for web promos. If you want to run a web promo to drive more acquisition, let us know. We have an entire team that focuses on doing essentially nothing but that. We can do it really quickly, really efficiently. And then tools, which are tools in addition to the ones that you're seeing from Growth Kit, in addition to what you're seeing from Magic Eye. We have tools as well that can help with some of these email things and web promos and app store optimization. But if I get into the details, we go look at the different stages in a user flow. I won't go through all of these, but these are specific actions that we can help with. So things like ratings prompts. Well, GrowthKit provides the tool. There are good and bad times to invoke a ratings prompt, and we can help with best practices there. App Store optimization and Play Store optimization. Through each of these, we can provide a lot of services. I already talked about growth models and user flows in the foundation on the bottom. I'll just go through 3 or 4 of these, just to give you a sense of the types of things we can do. So App Store optimization, at the top of the user flow, is an awareness kind of function that we can focus on. And this is just the one that we did with Google Maps. The original is on the left, and then the optimized version is on the right. And just to call out a few of the differences, if you look at the icon itself, we changed it from Google Maps to something with a lot more text, so it's easier to find. And the background, from plain blue to putting it in some kind of context of where you would be using the Maps app, somewhere out in the world. And within the app itself, the pictures that it shows. If you're in India, you don't necessarily want to see a picture of Google Maps with the Golden Gate Bridge on it. Something like the Taj Mahal as a landmark may be much more relevant. So those are some things the changes that we made there. And just doing that, there were other things that were going on, but when we isolated it to just the App Store optimization part, it drove a 10% increase in downloads. Coupled with work that was being done in the product itself by the Maps team, we were able to move Maps from roughly around position 26 in terms of downloads to sustain for a very long time between, in the top 10, between 6 and 8. Or I haven't looked at where it is today, but for a period of about 6 months, it stayed in that position. So just by doing App Store optimization, you can help drive some growth. The next one is the web promos themselves. So we've got someone doing a search here through the browser on mobile, and you can pop up something on the bottom that just says, in this case, it's better in the app. And we ran this one, and then we iterated on it, and almost a dozen times. By the time we were done iterating on it, remember when we talked about the understand, identify, and experiment, there's this iteration part, there was that arrow looping back. It took us about 12 tries before we finally said we think we've squeezed everything out of it. But by the time we were done, we had increased the conversion rate by more than 50%. So growth is not a one-time thing. It is iteration and iteration and iteration. So another example here is the onboarding best practices. So if you want to figure out signing best practices, or this one is onboarding, or getting a notification permission to a location permission, we can help with that. Here's one example for onboarding itself. The standard onboarding for most products right now is what you see on the left. And when we did this last year, we had almost 70% of the people who were going through an onboarding process for our products did not complete it. And those who did complete it didn't remember completing it. So generally, not a good use of time or engineering resources, not a good user experience. So we've switched to things like what you see on the right, which is where you drop the user directly into the app. And then you highlight the things that you want them to do that add value to them right away. So now you get 100% of people going right into the app. And here, this is for Google Drive. What we want to do is get them to upload a file, because it turns out that that is highly correlated, some of the analysis we've done in the earlier phases, highly correlated with engagement. We have to get them to upload a file. So just by doing this, 100% of the users landing in the app, we got about a 4.3% increase in the number of files uploaded from users. In fact, this one's great because we really didn't have to build anything, we just took some stuff out and improved all of that. And the last one I want to highlight is if you're looking at engagement, once you get people to the engaged stage, how do you keep them engaged? And there's lots of ways, notifications and so on. The one I want to highlight here is what you can do with email. It is still a pretty impressive channel. Notifications, we spent a lot of time focusing on as a company, and I think we should continue to do that. It's probably the most powerful one. But email is still really good and really effective. And some of the things we can do here on the one, we can have totally personalized emails sent en masse, so at scale. So this is one for AdWords, where it says on the left, people who viewed your ads was 657, the people who went to your website, 483. Everyone who gets this email, millions and millions and millions, it's personalized to each one. We do that at scale. Just let us know if that's something you want to do. And on the right, we can help target. So this is a YouTube email that was targeted to creators to get them to go to one of the conferences that they were holding. And again, done at scale. And very good at driving retention. It's also one of the best ways to drive re-engagement. If you lose someone, they're not in the app. And if they deleted the app, you don't have notifications. So email is one of the best channels, along with things like ads, where you can bring people back who have used the product before but have since churned out. So, as I mentioned, there's a whole series of these types of things that we should all be doing for our products. And if you want to start working with us, if you want to do kind of an embedded engagement where we become a virtual part of your team, and we're doing that with about 4 different products right now, let us know on the left. If you want to just start looking at how to do some of this yourself, we're building out some self-serve tools as well, where you can go to the product growth process, and it'll walk you through the first 4 steps of the growth process. And if you're about to launch something, check out the growth checklist, and it'll tell you these are the things you should be looking at. Basically what you saw on that prior slide, it's have you done these things, yes or no? Doesn't mean you have to do all of them, but at least know what you haven't yet done and decide if you want to prioritize that either for this release or a subsequent release. So by doing all of this together and by working with our team on basically how to drive growth and then working with